One Special Night is a really lovely film. There's a little bit of fluff. There are some characters who I don't think add very much to it. But in general, it's a really beautiful story. It was released in 1999. It's directed by Roger Young. And it's written by Nancy Silvers, based on the play by John Hartman, and we have a cast including Julie Andrews as Catherine and James Garner as Robert, and it takes place around Christmas time. It's very snowy, and Catherine, who is a doctor, is driving along with somebody in her passenger seat. This is, of course, Robert, and they get into a bit of bother with the car, so they end up having to abandon the vehicle in the snowstorm and take refuge in a nearby cabin, which happens to be empty. And the film is largely about them talking and connecting with each other. And to begin with, they don't seem to get on very well, largely because Catherine is quite abrasive. She's not the most warm and welcoming character. And it takes quite a bit of time to start to chip away at that exterior and get to know a little bit more about her. And as the narrative progresses, obviously that begins to happen. And it's clear that maybe Catherine and Robert are actually going to be good company for one another. And I'll say no more than that. I don't want to give away too much about the narrative. I feel like the film itself is about an hour and a half. And I'd say there's a good 10-15 minutes of fluff, mostly focusing on the other characters. Yes, to focus on the other characters a little bit definitely helps to flesh things out, but I feel like there were too many scenes with other characters that we really didn't need, and I just found the other characters to be tremendously boring. But our protagonists really made up for that by being really interesting, really fascinating. I loved their personalities. Yes, Catherine took a little bit of time getting used to, but Julie Andrews is amazing. So even though I didn't love Catherine from the start, I loved watching Julie Andrews. And in general, I thought this was a really, really lovely, heartwarming film with a really great narrative that's generally well handled. As I said, it's a little slow in places with what I consider to be kind of dull padding, but that aside, I rather enjoyed it. Very well written characters, really great performances from Garner and Andrews there, and I thoroughly recommend it. It's a very easy watch. It's very gentle, but at the same time it does touch upon subjects that might be a little bit heavier, but it never gets too heavy or anything. So in general, it's quite an easy, comforting, heartwarming watch, but with a few dips here and there. It's a really good film. One Special Night is a great narrative, really solid characters and performances, and if it's a story that might appeal to you, or indeed if you're interested in the cast, then I'd say it's definitely a film that's worth watching.